my question is, did y'all see the Oscars last night?
No.
I'm sure you.
I didn't either.
Do you see any clips on Twitter or
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, anything like that?
Yep.
Because I didn't sit there and watch the Oscars either, but I, was following it, if you could say that.
Sister
I don't
Ken
think I've
gave a
ever.
highlight.
No, I have.
Sat through a whole show.
No, I sat through a whole show. No, I have seen the Oscars before. But that's like if I'm at work and there's a TV at work, and you know what I'm saying. Everybody's kind of watching the Oscars. I'm
Right.
watching the Oscars with them. But like at the house, I've never like sat down and be like, oh, the Oscars is on. So
Yeah.
I've just kind of followed it on social media to see, what I think is gonna get Best Picture and all that stuff.
Same. Yeah.
You know. I don't think that I've ever returned to any award show. Maybe besides maybe the BET Awards. I think there was, and that was years and years and years ago. I would kind of like check that out. But yeah, besides that, I've never been an Oscar person. So, okay. So, and the reason is because of sometimes, they be playing games with the Oscars and everything like that. But I think a lot of black people, foundational black Americans, turned out this time, or at least were following the Oscars this time to see exactly how well Sinners was going to do at the Oscars. Let me first off and say this. I want to say that we don't need their validation. We don't need the Oscars validation. So the movie was a success, clearly. It was a cultural success. It was a financial success. The movie was so successful. Many people tried to preach to Ryan Coogler that they needed a spinoff or a franchise or something like that. So we already knew the movie did well in and of itself, okay? But it is good to see how well that, their work is paid off, okay? And how well that our culture pushes through despite its pushback and everything. So Sinners did win 4 awards last night, four Oscar awards. They won Best Actor, which was the main award of the night. So shout out to Michael B. Jordan. He won Best Actor. That's his first Oscar. And then the movies won Best Cinematography, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Original Score. Okay, so that kind of goes to the movie, but it kind of really goes to Ryan Coogler. So he won his Oscars that night too. So our brothers really got their props, and they deserve it. Okay, there were some things though at the Oscars that I kind of was like, okay, all right then, I see what y'all doing. All right, so I want to say that now. I'm gonna start off by saying this. We're just gonna talk a little bit. I'm gonna start off by saying this. They had a musical piece, I Lied to You, which was the main musical thing. Sammy, the character, he was singing that, and there was like a Shaboozy cameo, if you guys saw that, where the panel kind of panned off to Shaboozy, and Shaboozy seemed like he stood out like a sore thumb. It was like a cat in water or something like that. It was so out of place, So you can kind of tell that they're really trying to do a lot of propping up of Shaboozy. Shaboozy did they're really trying to prop up Shaboozy. A lot of people was talking about Shaboozy's outfit, all of this stuff. It was that. Another thing, Delroy Lindo, I feel like got robbed. Delroy Lindo, he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and he lost to some other guy. I don't even know his name. He lost to some other guy who was in One Battle After Another. And I think that's very interesting because, spoiler alert, the guy he lost to was very interesting because if you guys have seen the movie, I've seen the movie. The guy he lost to, it was Sean Penn. Okay.
Sean Penn. I thought
Sean Penn. Sean Penn. The guy he lost to played a ICE officer or former ICE officer that was trying to join a YT supremacist organization. And in order to do that, he had to unalive his biracial child. So it's kind of telling that they gave an award to that. You know, it shows kind of what the movie was about. Speaking of the movie, that movie won Best Picture. Now, I don't agree with that at all. One Battle After Another did not deserve to win Best Picture. Okay. One Battle After Another was not even a mid movie, in my opinion. And that's not just because of my political stances or, oh, that's just because you like Sinners. No. One Battle After Another was, I think, very all over the place. One Battle After Another, when I was watching it, I didn't know if this was like some type of adventure comedy movie. I couldn't even really put my finger on what genre they were going for, or what they were kind of going for. Notice nobody talks about a sequel to One Battle After Another. Everybody's talking about making Sinners a whole franchise. Nobody said nothing about making One Battle After Another 2, a One Battle After Another prequel, a sequel, no franchise. Nobody wants to see nothing that has to do with that movie. Okay? And that movie financially was not no big hit like that either. Okay? The movie was kind of all over the place. There was so many times in the movie I was all like, I guess, I suppose. I mean, there was so many things in the movie that just took me out. There was pretty much all of the characters were acting very racially stereotypical. It was a very odd movie, to be honest. It was kind of like an odd movie. It was like a movie that you couldn't really get into if you were sober type movie. And they propped this movie up for a lot of reasons. Okay? They gave this movie a whole bunch of different types of awards. So I disagree with that entirely.
Look, Afro. Part of my dream came true. You
Yeah,
think you see something?
I see him. That's my brother right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish monologuing in a little bit. Let y'all go ahead. Best, I guess female actor or supporting female actor went to the woman who was in Weapons. And I forgot our sister's name from Sinners, who played Annie. I forgot her name. But I felt like she was robbed. Even though I watched Weapons, I
Really?
thought that the woman who did that, I thought Wani is Wamni. I thought she was robbed. Now I watched Weapons. I thought that the woman who played the, I guess, witch or the villain, I thought she did a good job, to be very honest. I'm not even gonna be biased, me all like she did terrible. I thought she did a good job. I wouldn't have given her that award just because I've kind of seen that before. You know, you've seen the kind of crazy old witch before. It was good. It just wasn't really. It didn't grab you. It wasn't really anything new to it. You've seen that before. It's yeah, okay, and she did good. Okay, I just feel like our sister really brought something new to the movie when she was playing Annie. I felt like that was all of the characters who played in Sinners. I felt like everything, their characters were very unique. It was original. I didn't feel like this was copy paste from another horror movie or another genre or timepiece. I felt like they all stood out, all had their moments. The accents and the costumes and the mannerisms and all that stuff. Yeah, I just feel like I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel she was robbed. Honestly, I just felt like giving her that more because they really wanted to prop Weapons up like some super groundbreaking thing, and it just wasn't. It really kind of wasn't that, to be honest. From a person objectively who watched all of these movies, the movies who won an award, Sinners is the only thing that makes sense. Okay, Weapons. I liked the film. It was cool. Weapons had weird plot holes. Honestly, I'm just being objective. The movie Weapons had weird plot holes in it, and it was all like, okay, well, that's kind of odd, but okay, I guess it just had weird plot holes in it. You know, it was cool for what it was, but it had weird plot holes. One battle after another was just I just left the movie like I'm not sure. Like I thought it would be better if it was just a comedy movie. If they would have marketed that as a comedy movie, like an adventure comedy, I probably would have got into it a little more. But one battle after another just seemed like it's less than mid. It just seemed like kind of just slopped together. Personally, it was so many scenes in there. I'm all like, okay, that I thought that was a main character. What's the main black character's name again? I forgot her name. Taylor something.
Tiana Taylor.
Tiana Taylor. She was in the movie for like 15 minutes, y'all. And that's it. And I'm talking about, it was that, man, that movie was like, it was not there, man. It really wasn't. Best, I don't see how it won anything, personally. Okay. And then best costume went to Avatar, which is, I love the Avatar series. I love the franchise, and there's a lot of stuff we can dive into that franchise alone. However,
the white people's version of the space natives.
yeah. However, when you look at the movie, all of the actual actors are wearing black suits. All of that stuff is CGI. So how did you win best costume if that's like an animation? How did you win best costume for CGI? Or it was best costume or dress or something like that. Best something like that they won. And then I'm all like, yeah, but that movie is CGI. Frankenstein, I think, had best hair and makeup, but there was only 2 people in hair and makeup. So I'm like, okay, all right, y'all really stretching to give other things some awards, because okay, all right. I'm just it's just like it's like y'all were just kind of giving out DEI awards, honestly. It was like y'all was just giving out DEI awards. I feel like Sinners was the only thing that deserved anything, honestly. But that's my opinion. Zizi, what do you think?
Oh no, I absolutely agree. You just took the words right out of my mouth, honestly. Yeah, no, I don't think no movie last year really saw Sinners. Like I don't think any movie, I have to go back and think about it if I'm not tripping, but Sinners for me was for sure the best movie of last year, period. And so they had to kind of, pedestalize these other movies to try to compete and compare against Sinners, because they don't want, one, they want to disrespect foundational Black Americans, but moreover, they don't want our culture and history to be highlighted, especially over everything else. So yeah, I think they was definitely being intentional with them trying to give the awards. I didn't even hear about the costume thing. That's actually insane that they didn't win best costume when, I mean, the costumes and Sinners was on point. Everything in that damn movie was on point for the most part. So that's just insane within itself. With the sister, though, I will say I did like Woomy in the movie, but I'm not gonna lie, that was one critique I had for her for that movie, because I wish that they didn't use her. I wish they would have got an actual sister from New Orleans, because I don't think I think she was good, but I don't think she gave me New Orleans, like a New Orleans hoodoo witch, the way a real FBA New Orleans sister would have gave it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, like, if Jill Scott, it's a bracket of people. Erykah Badu, a lot of people could have played that role. They not even from Jill Scott, from Philly, but I think she would have did a better job, to be honest. So that was a critique I had for the movie. So I'm not mad at her not winning that, although I do think that's still intentional. Especially with Delroy not winning, because Delroy was phenomenal in that film. So there's no reason for him to not have won, especially against Sean Penn, when Sean Penn, like you've already described, his character was actually egregious. In that movie, one battle after another, the fact that they're propping that movie up so much, and they've been doing it not only with the Oscars, they've been doing it at every fucking award show, trying to act like this is one of the best movies ever made. And the movie was terrible. The only reason, honestly, Sinners was a scary movie, and with scary movies is crazy because you're cringe and you want to look away from the screen, but you want to look, but you don't want to see it. But Sinners, I kept my eyes on the screen. I was glued to the screen the whole damn time. That's how good that movie was. One battle after another. The only reason I was kept watching that shit is because every scene, it was something more egregious. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, every single turn, it was like, damn. This the main character ain't shit, Tiana Taylor, and everybody else in here some fake ass revolutionaries, and y'all disrespecting the hell out of foundational Black Americans by trying to prioritize illegal immigrants over the fight of Black America right now. You using Black Americans as pawns to fight for another group, and it was just so politically intentional why they chose that movie and why they're propping that movie up right now. So yeah, I find it highly disrespectful for them, especially to say something about that, for them to prop up that movie specifically. But also for them to act like these other movies are better than or even competing with Sinners, because they know that was the best film of last year, point blank period. To be honest, I'm gonna just say that was the best film of last year. So yeah, they know what they're doing. Perfidia, I think that was Tiana Taylor's character name. I was trying to think of it, but yeah, I think it's absolutely intentional the way they're trying to disrespect these brothers. But I am happy that Michael B. Jordan won Best Actor, because that was good to see. That was a blessing, and I'm glad they got the other awards that they got too. Cinematography was, of course. Screenplay and the scoring. Honestly, I think if they would have gave the scoring to anybody else, it just would have been too blatantly anti-Black. Like, we know that was the best score movie of last year. That had an original soundtrack. All of the singers that was in the movie sounded great. So that was just an obvious win for them. I will say at the awards show though, I did see that they performed I Lied to You. They had Miles Catton, and I seen Shaboozy. Shaboozy, like you said, he stuck out like a sore thumb. It was very odd. He didn't sound good. And I'm gonna be real with you, I'm mad that they even had all them people up there. I don't know who the fuck the rest of the people were. I'm gonna be real. I seen Buddy, I think Buddy Guy was up there, shout out to him. So I'm glad they had the elder up there. But everybody else, I think they should have just had the elder and Miles Catton. I'm like, why the fuck is there 17 people singing? Honestly, towards the end, they lost me. I'm like, this is too much going on. It's too many voices. Shaboozy up there, got this Ted up there, misrepresenting us. I'm not feeling it. So that shit kind of threw me off. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't really feeling the performance like that outside of Miles Cannon, because that brother can sing. So yeah, I wish they would have just highlighted him and let that been that, and the elder, and that would have been that. But yeah, egregious, outrageous, everything between. But I'm glad they did get the full awards they did get. That was highly deserved, but they deserve more for sure.
Yeah. Let me just give something, right? Let me just give something. Because I just looked it up. Okay, so the Avatar movie got best visual effects. Okay, and it was the Frankenstein movie that got best costume. Now that you say visual effects, I can kind of see that, but still, like, the entire movie is CGI. So like, I'm not sure how that. Yeah, I feel like that was still just as kind of like a stretch. Still, considering the whole movie's CGI, but like visual effects, what is the effect? If it maybe CGI is, I don't know, maybe they trying to push that, but whatever. I don't see best costume given the Frankenstein. Okay, best director, I think that, like I said, One Battle After Another was the absolute most overrated and overhyped movie of last year. Period. One Battle After Another was not good.
It wasn't. It was.
It just wasn't good. You know. BX, what do you think? And then can you set the decorum?
Did you ask me what I think?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a few things that I think. I think that we've seen this rodeo before, as far as us with the YT people, the way they judge the award shows, how they purposely lock us out or give. I was happy that Michael B. Jordan won for a role that wasn't like Training Day or Halle Berry and Monsters Ball. That's not to take away from them, but I'm gonna say, when we add in the melanated foreign actors and actresses and say, well, they didn't hit the mark for hoodoo and stuff, but they really not of the lineage, there's a name for what we're going through in Hollywood. It's erasure. It's ethnocide by film. This is something different where they will highlight or cast a little Haitian girl to play Sarah Rector. So I'm just using my time to make a plea to our foundational Black American filmmakers to start making our documentaries ourselves. This is the time where there is a demand for what we could supply. Us telling our own stories. So we don't have to say all of this. But did Ryan Coogler win for Best Director or something? Did he get an award?
He got an award, but he didn't win Best Director. Best Director went to One Battle After Another.
Okay, so I don't know the technical terms, but as long as he won, I'm happy with that. Okay. So, and that's all I wanted to remind everybody, that we are facing an erasure systemically within Hollywood, which we've always faced in Hollywood, but they got melanated players in the mix and casting them as our heroines, right? but we broke every racial barrier. We made them look good. Um, when we, in light of the Africans, we made their culture look good, their kingdoms, and there's a reason why Shaka Zulu was accepted on film, right? We broke those barriers. So I just want to say that. So support Black American filmmakers, please. We got Black American actresses, actors, screenplay writers. Like, we could do it all. We don't have to be mainstream because who want their accolades? I'm perfectly fine with Tubi as long as the quality is good. We are Black American. We create, reinvent, and then reinvent again. Like, we steady evolving. That's why everybody tries to tether onto us. But great job to Michael B. Jordan. Great job to Ryan Coogler. Great job to those who support Black American businesses and entities and films and every aspect of our culture without tethering or vulturing onto it. Delroy Lindo should have won. I don't consider him like tether or whatever. He gives us, his best, and he always tells the truth of
He's a rider
why
for
his
sure.
career, huh?
Yeah, he's a rider for sure. Delroy.
Right, right. And that's all I got to say about that. Do you want to hear from Shabu before I set the caller?
Yeah. Let me just make one more because I'm looking it up now. Okay, Avatar won 2 Oscars, and the Oscar that a lot of people had an issue with is not best visual effects. I can kind of see that, but they also won an award for best costume. That's the thing. It wasn't hair and makeup. It was best costume. Which, like I said, I don't know how you can win best costume if the costumes are CGI.
Yeah,
Because
they
all of
blend.
the actors are wearing completely black suits. Y'all know they got black suits with the dots and stuff like that and marks on their face. And I'm talking about all of them. 100% of all of the Avatar stuff is all CGI, which I love the Avatar series. I think there's a lot to take from that. Actually, there's a lot you can break down from that. But to give them best costume, that's like giving a cartoon best costume. It's kind of on the verge of giving a cartoon movie best costume. So clearly we know best costume should have went to Sinners too. But okay, I feel like they were robbed in that category too. But yeah, Shavu, what's on your mind, brother? Talk to us.
What's up, everybody? Shout out to Ron Coogler and his success with Sinners. Congratulations to Michael B. Jordan. It was his first Oscar nomination and his first win. And just shout out to the whole film crew who worked on this movie. Now, my prediction was about 98% correct on what was going to happen. The one thing I caught that I was wrong on, I thought they was going to give it to Michael B. Jordan for Best Actor. I thought they was going to cheat him, but I'm glad he won. When we talk about, first of all, one battle or another offends me as a black man. That I forced myself to watch the whole movie. I thought it was a comedy, a black comedy movie, because what I saw in the trailer is not what I saw in that movie. Tiana Taylor went and through her Halle Berry monster ball phase and stuff like it's one of my most hated movies of all time, next to Princess and the Frog and Song of the South. But that's another subject for another day. But you have to understand when it comes to the subject of Sinners, when Sinners came out, Sinners was basically hated as soon as it got critically acclaimed. And it got to the point where Ben Stiller had to defend a white guy of all places. And I'm a fan of Ben Stiller. He had to defend him because they was talking about the box office, saying that it's not like, come on. Ryan Coogler got himself a deal. He got a deal with Warner Brothers 25 years after the release of the film. The IP transfers back to him. So, and he gets a percentage of the box office profits. Also, we also have to, they was pretty much, this is why I don't understand, when the criticism when Sinners was coming out. First of all, you penalize Ryan Coogler for what everybody does. First I heard from the Latino community, okay, well, Sinners is just a black version of From Dusk Till Dawn. Okay, well, I can see that. So you just gonna penalize every single horror movie that came after Halloween? So you basically gasping for straws. So Ryan Coogler already said his inspiration, Robert Rodriguez. Robert Rodriguez is a very talented film director and he's made classic movies. Ryan Coogler never discarded the fact that he was inspired by, because he was. Okay? So if you're gonna do that, then every single bank robber movie that came after Heat, then you just penalize it. You see, it's criticism. It's just a selective outrage that I just don't like. But the movie was so phenomenal that it just destroyed all of that. Now, as far as winning his best, was it hairstyle and stuff like that? Now, Guillermo del Toro, I got no issue with Guillermo del Toro because he's one of my favorite film directors of all time. All right, I grew up with the Hellboy movies. I grew up with the Pan's Labyrinth. Guillermo del Toro got that award based on legacy because if you look at his body of work, you know, with his practical effects and costume and stuff like that, I get that. And Frankenstein, I think, was a phenomenal movie. But I didn't really have much of an issue with Guillermo del Toro winning that part. But if you tell me that Sinners deserve it, I have no problem with that either. But overall, as much as we don't need validation from the Academy Awards, the Academy Awards does hold merit to your success as an actor. And I do believe that Michael B. Jordan, even though I don't like the Academy Awards, we can't deny the impact of you winning one, let alone being nominated for one. And I'm glad that Michael B. Jordan got it and the Black American actors that had it before him. So it's going to add, so this is going to really look good on his resume, on his legacy, for him to bring in more projects and wealth to his family. So I'm happy that he succeeded in that aspect. And Michael B. Jordan is one of the most disrespected actors I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's crazy. Like, the disrespect he's got throughout his career. And we talked about this from him with the Juve thing, from, you know, with the Sinners. It's just ridiculous. But overall, the Academy Awards is still discriminatory. I don't care. I didn't really watch all of it. I just watched the results after. Avatar winning, well, I call it, you know, the YT folks version of Space Indians. Like, I really don't like Avatar like that. It's overrated. James Cameron has made better movies than that. I will watch Terminator before I watch another Avatar movie again. But like I said, we all know what it is. But, you know, shout out to Ryan Coogler. This is another win for the Black American community. I went to go see Sinners 3 times in IMAX. Make sure I put money in his pocket. But, you know, like I said, shout out to Michael B. Jordan and the crew. And, you know, Delroy Lindo, I agree. Him losing against Sean Penn. Sean Penn is not a bad actor. He's one of the greatest actors I've ever seen. And, you know, Carlito's Way is one of his greatest roles. But we understand what that was about. Him playing a white supremacist a soldier and stuff like come on, like Afro, we already know what that was. Yeah. So it just is what it is at this point. But Delroy Lindo, you know, he's a veteran in the game, and you know, if he keeps his head strong and just do, you know, great movie roles, I think he would be nominated again and maybe win. But, you know, like I said, I'm happy for, you know, for the Black American communities, for the Dubs, for the winning the awards. But, you know, a lot of the wins I didn't agree with, like you said, except for Guillermo del Toro, because that's my guy. I mess with Guillermo del Toro, you know what I'm saying? He's never disrespected Black Americans. Blade 2 is one of my favorite movies. So I got no issue with him with that. But other than that, you know, it's just another year of the Academy Awards.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Afro, can I ask you a question? Has Michael B. Jordan ever said his family is from the continent? Because here comes a Nigerian.
Oh, I was about to bring that up.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan Michael B. Jordan has stated, and I got the video, Michael B. Jordan has stated that both his family lineage is from the South. He stated that his father is from Louisiana, and I think his mother is from Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken, and that his family lineage is from the South. He said that. He said that night, too, because there was some people asking. He made a comment. He made a comment about his dad coming from Ghana to see him or to see him at the Oscars. And boy, the Tethers was all like, oh my God, thank you. Michael B. Jordan's Ghanaian. And he had to clear that up. Like, no, he's actually not. He said his dad was in Ghana. That doesn't make him Ghanaian.
Exactly. It was ready to take that win.
Yeah, you can't forget that some Black Americans are heavy into Pan-Africanism, and some have taken up the Return Home, the Right to Abode, and all those other programs over there that the African continental nations are using to scam poor Black Americans. I think it's a scam, really. Not only that, though, Michael B. Jordan is a Babalawo, if nobody didn't know. When he announced it, everybody was like shocked and amazed. But I understand Pan-Africanism to a certain extent, right? because I don't understand them today. But when we were looking for ways of our ancestors and stuff, we did step outside of Christianity into ATRs. For some, it resonated, and for some, it didn't. When Michael B. Jordan, he said that he was a Babalawo, and I'm not shocked or amazed by it. I just don't think that the Africans have any right to claim him as theirs. If his family is from Mississippi, he's foundational, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Michael B.
But they do
Jordan.
that. But they do that
Okay.
with everybody.
Now watch.
though, man.
He's gonna say that in the comments. He's not gonna come up and substantiate that. Okay. This is desperation at that point. What he's doing is desperation. Michael B. Jordan is Yoruba. He's not. Michael has said what he is, and he's not Yoruba. He's not Nigerian. Nothing like that. So
Afro, you know they gasping
that's
for sauce with
desperation.
that. You know they gasping for sauce with that claim. Come on now. First of all, I have family who went to school with Michael B. Jordan. Me and Michael B. Jordan was on All My Children together back when he was a child actor. Like, come on, dude. The man ain't Yoruba. The man's from Jersey. He went to school with my cousins back then when he was in Newark. Like, come on, son. Like, y'all gasping for straws at this point.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, doke. All right then. My brother EJ came all the way from Twitter. EJ, my brother, talk to us. EJ. Okay, there we
Long
go.
time no see. I'm still trying to get real technical with all this flipper flam stuff that's going over here on TikTok, but I'm glad to be in the building. Sorry about that. I gotta fix my headset because these are tether made in China. But besides that, the movie Sinners is a phenomenal masterpiece when it comes to the foundational Black American family. And the moral of the story is when it comes to our history and our people, this movie definitely do need to be made, and it does need to be studied for generations to come. And you know how these people in the comment section are talking about he's your Rubia, he's this, he's that. I just had these Ghanaians on Twitter talk about that Michael B. Jordan is this and that. So these Africans are over here having eternal conflicts with trying to take our Black American icons and make them one of theirs. And this is why the delineation movement is so much needed throughout our panels and throughout the conversations that we have. And I salute you, brother Afro, because you're more fair than me, because I really don't give a lot of these people chances. And I know why you do that, because you be correcting them and putting them in their place. And I do have to say salute to the two sisters, ZZ and BX, because I be hearing some of these tether women talk about stuff about our American sisters, and this just goes to show you that the brothers don't even have to do anything. We could just sit back, relax, and get on our Michael Jackson type vibe and just moonwalk away from the conversation, even though that the family is gonna hold it down. But the movie Sinners, it didn't really surprise me that they won all those awards, but when it comes to the YT supremacists, they see the energy and the momentum so much through our grassroots that they had no choice but to give Sinners the accolades that they needed. They didn't want to do it. They wanted to just put this movie in the background and just put it on one of these low branded movie apps. But they knew that the movie was so much successful and it just blown away more than these other movies and these other movie. I'm trying to come up with my words. It blew away all the other movies throughout the past couple of years that they had no business not giving it any awards. It should have really swept the award section of like the Grammys and like the Oscars and stuff and these other award shows. But it comes a time where these YT supremacists have always been segregating us out of their award shows. But this is why I say that the grassroots can always make our own movie award shows, so we don't have to share or even try to give like our energy to these YT supremacists and their other movie panels and stuff and shows. But with that being said, I'm going to land my plane and let somebody else speak. The haters are still going to hate. And, these Africans, the only thing, and that's one of many things that I don't like about them, is they always try to take the energy from us when they can't even get energy in their own homelands. You don't really see them talking about the accolades of their actors or actresses when it comes to their award shows. See, they got to come to America to come into our sector to try to get in tune with, the movie business. They can't really get it like this in their homeland since most of them come from third world countries. It can be really better for these people in their homelands if they work together and form like Voltron to get the tethers out of their panels and stuff. But with that being said, I land my plane.
All right. Okay, let's get to the next speaker. Let's get to Sarah Sun God.
What's good, there, brother? I'm from shit. I'm foundation. Well, I'm Black American, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Chicago with you, bro. It's cold in the morning, but you know this weather crazy. But
Oh, it's still snowing up there?
no, it's not snowing right now, but it's windy. It's gonna be below freezing for the next few days. Then we're gonna warm back up. But right now it's kind of bipolar.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's what it is. I'm used to it. We built for this. We built for this. Yeah, so I think somebody know I can't even.
You gotta mute yourself when you come up. So
Yeah,
okay.
so as a person, a movie buff myself, I think last year was one of the most disappointing, I think, years for movies, with the exception of Sinners. I believe Sinners should have swept all categories, to be honest with you. It was just no competition at all. Even with the Frankenstein movie, I didn't like it at all. I understand what you're saying about the director, one of the brothers. Even Avatar, I didn't like it at all. Again, it's just one of those, space cowboy Indians type of movies. I
Thank
did
you.
I did like some aspects of one battle after another, and I'll say that in just a second. But as far as what we did last year with Sinners, I believe it's just showing that it's our time for creativity and time for everything. It was just a real disappointing time for movies. Even with the they're trying to hype up, what's that movie?
Marty Supreme.
No, the movie with the monster, the lady, the witch lady.
Weapons.
Weapons. What, even that movie, it was just a disappointment. And then they try to immediately compare it to Sinners. It was no comparison at all. So I do believe Sinners should have swept all categories, but that would have been too blatant. Like, hey, these people are on to something. We lost our creativity. We lost our edge. So that's how I saw it. Now, as far as one battle after another, I had to watch it a few times. But what really stuck out with me was the dialogue with the Kringle, whatever they call themselves, the Chris Kringle Society or something like that. And that to me was the meat of the movie. And I think a lot of stuff got lost in that. So, I mean, if you rewatch it, but just really focus on that part, everything else is kind of, to me, spinning around that axis, if you will. But other than that, man, I like what you're doing. And yeah, Sinners did it. And we really don't need, honestly, what Sinners proved. Black people need to start their own reward shows so we can pretty much reward our own. We don't need people don't even know how to season their food, man. You know what I mean? People that enjoy, kissing their animals in the mouth. So we don't need those accolades from them, And I think
Hmm.
it's a sickness that we have to even want to be accepted and say, see, we can do everything better than you. Just stay out of our way. And what Sinners did to me was show us something on a deeper level, and we ready for it. We ready to take leadership. We just got to do it.
All right. All right. Appreciate that. Let me say something before we get to the next speaker. Um, and I waited for everybody to, finish what they had to say before I said this. As far as the Oscars go, like I said in the beginning, we don't need the Oscars. The Oscars has really lost credibility, which is why the Oscars kind of conceded and gave Sinners the wins that they deserved. Because if they didn't, let's be honest, if they didn't, the Oscars would have lost all credibility. The people have been tuning out of the Oscars for years, and these people are supposed to be the prestigious voters of the Academy and prestigious dictators of motion picture and art and all that stuff. And if they would have got out there, and if they would have what, like, completely shunned Sinners like they probably wanted to, it would have just shown the lack of credibility and authenticity that the Oscars have, which they are known for that. They're known for botching awards and all of that stuff. So of course it was like, it's so much to the point where Sinners was really one of the only movies that's not a part of any franchise that was a box office hit. Okay, one battle after another. It made its money back, but it was not no box office hit. Weapons was not a box office hit. None of these things were a box office hit besides Sinners. Okay? Outside of like a comic book movie or Avatar, none of these other movies, or maybe you could say a cartoon movie, but those don't even count really. None of these movies were box office hits. None of these movies got all of these nominations. None of these movies were talked about, people trying to make a franchise. So the Oscars was all like, damn. If we really just kind of throw this movie under the rug, it's up for us. Nobody's gonna take us serious, and they knew that. They knew if they threw this movie under the rug like they wanted to, nobody was going to take the Oscars serious, which the Oscars aren't really that serious. But I think it was Shavu who said, when it comes to filmmaking, the Oscars and winning an Oscar does take you to the next level as far as your acting, as far as being a director, as far as being able to make more movies, get more, bigger loans and bigger budgets for bigger movies and things like that, bigger projects and things like that. So, there is, it does open a door for opportunity, okay, for people in film. So I get that point. Another thing I want to say as well, too, despite the whole Oscar thing, I think one of the reasons why I feel like this was a big success and victory is because this movie was so unapologetically black. Okay. This movie was made pretty much for us and by us. And it really showcases how you don't have to compromise on foundational Black American culture. You don't have to compromise on that. You don't have to put any weird agenda. There doesn't have to be a YT savior at the end. You don't have to have anybody bucking their eyes and running. You don't have to show anybody in no really crazy stereotypical way or anything like that. You don't really have to do that. There doesn't have to be a humiliation ritual or some. It wasn't like that. And even though it was an R-rated movie, the movie was damn near family friendly, almost to a degree. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no movie that was just super crazy, super over the top, where only a small niche of people could have really got into it. Pretty much everybody who saw it was into it. You didn't really have any complaints about it. And it showcases how successful our culture can be when it's just about our culture. All right. Because the stereotype that, Black films don't do that well in the box office, and, Black led films or Black directed films, nobody wants to see that, it debunks that. So that's a good thing. And I hope that this sets a precedent for other directors and other actors who are making their own projects to go unapologetically into our culture, and not have to compromise for that. So I think that that was the biggest win that we have with that. All right. Can y'all tap the screen, everybody? Can everybody tap the screen? Tap, tap, tap. Let's tap the screen. And if you guys are listening on YouTube, hit that like button.
Can I just piggyback off what you just said, Brother Afro?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. This just goes to show you that if you have any creativity when it comes to you trying to be an actor, Ryan Coogler is a perfect example of what you should be doing and how you should be doing movies to represent your people. See, we done had too many people within our community misrepresenting our community when it comes to like bad images of, our people being represented in movies. Some of them are dear movies. Yes, some of them are funny though, but some of them do have a lot of negative stereotypes about our people not being, good fathers, baby mama drama, the whole rhetoric that these, tethers be talking about in their panels for 5 to 8 hours a day constantly. And this just goes to show you that if you have anything that you want to do in this life as a young Black man or a young Black woman, and I don't care what it is, like if you want to be a math teacher, if you want to be something, a mechanic, we have examples of those people throughout the years as long as we've been here in the United States of America. And if you want to be a movie actor or actress, this Sinners is the perfect movie that you can look at and be like, hey, this brother did it, I can do it too. So when it comes to seeing these YT people in these other movies, you don't have to look at them as, examples. You have people in your own community that have been representing in a right way. Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman. You have certain people in our community that have been representing throughout the years when it comes to being, Hollywood stars, when it comes to being in high budget films or even in low budget films. So, it's certain levels that our people should understand that we can have positive representation throughout these movies instead of just going the complete route of just misrepresenting your people and just trying to kiss white butt. But this just goes to show you that delineation is working so much that we can make our own movie without even having these tethers or even these YT supremacists trying to tell us what we can and what we can't do. Birth of a Nation, that was a good example of how Haitians should be acting and how energy that a lot of these immigrant groups should be acting. That should be a perfect example of y'all should be standing up for yourselves. And when it comes to y'all cosplaying in our movies and then trying to talk ish about what Black American actors or actresses ain't doing for you, well, if we pave the way for our own people to be represented in a positive manner, then you should have the brain matter or even the knowledge to even represent yourself as a so-called Nigerian or any type of other immigrant that comes from a third world country background. So if you're going to be representing yourself within Black American culture, you should be getting the dirt off your feet and be paying homage to the people who paved the way before you. But with that being said, I'll land my plane once again.
Afro, you have a new subscriber. Do you see it? A super fan
Mm,
subscriber?
no, I
Did you?
don't.
It doesn't. It doesn't give you the notification.
No. Let me see. I think this is it. I
What
don't
is
know how I
it?
can find out who it is though. I'm gonna have to check that out. Shout out to our new subscriber. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I appreciate you too. Y'all go ahead and get your subscriptions. I just got mine. Okay.
Oh,
Afrobeat is yeah. I said, when I free up a little bit of a change, I will go ahead and become super fans to some of the hosts that I'm on for, or some of the rooms that I even sit in. Creators deserve to be supported. It is a feature of TikTok, so go ahead and support one of the best platforms and its host on this damn here TikTok.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, I got to get Shabu, and then I got to get somebody else. Yeah.
All right.
Y'all go
Thank you.
ahead and get y'all subscriptions, please. Talk
Yes.
it like you're walking.
That's a blessing.
Yes. Yeah. Now there's something else, and I wanted us to. We talked about Sinners and how great it was, and everything, and that movie was the movie was phenomenal. Okay, but I also want to say this. Let me say, the YT folks are very mad. All last night, I'm sitting up there getting clips and screenshots and all of that stuff. They are triggered beyond belief. They're calling this woke. They calling this DEI. They're saying all of this stuff about, oh, Sinners was overrated. Michael B. Jordan was over. He can't even act that good. Sinners wasn't that good. The movie was boring. All of that stuff. They're very upset. Why, though? Of course, we know they're going to be upset. Why they're upset is because movies, especially movies that got awards, movies that are critically acclaimed, okay, they set a precedent going forward. And they don't like the precedent that Sinners set. They don't like the precedent from a business aspect. They didn't like the deal that Ryan Coogler had made about 25 years later, he's going to own the rights to Sinners. They didn't like that. Okay. They were criticizing that from day one. From the second they saw or found out about that deal, they were all like, oh my God, cinema is over. Theater is over. Oh my God, what are we going to do? They've never said that about a non-black person having a deal like that. They've never said that. Okay. Now Ryan Coogler, our brother, he gets a good deal. Now all of a sudden theater is over. Okay. They didn't like the movie. They didn't like the movie because the movie sets a different precedent. Because normally when you go back in the time, when you go back in time and you talk about the Jim Crow South, or when you talk about, the slavery era. Now this movie, it was, not filmed during that time, but it was based during the 1930s. And normally during that time, you see a lot of black suffering, a lot of really oppression and subjugation and stuff like that. And they honestly, they get their rocks off to that. They like seeing that. Okay. I want you to understand, just notice they don't complain about like subjugation movies. Like they don't complain about a 12 years a slave. They don't complain about like even a Harriet Tubman movie. They don't complain. Now, these are movies where it's supposed to be about black history and stuff like that. They say they don't care about black history, but they like it if it's like in a very kind of derogatory way. If it kicks black people down, if it makes them feel kind of high and mighty. Notice they didn't complain about Harriet. They didn't complain about Woman King. They didn't complain about 12 Years a Slave. They didn't complain about Precious. They didn't complain about, what's that other movie? The Color Purple. Any movie where black people are just sitting up there just getting tossed around and beat up and dragged and they just can't seem to catch a break. Oh, they love those movies. Oh, they do. The Help, The Butler, any movie like that. Oh, they love those movies where black people just getting beat up and drugged and all of that. They be like, oh my God, just love the black culture in that movie. That movie it just makes me feel some type of way. Sinners was different though. Yeah, exactly, like Selma and all of that stuff. The Blind Side, where the black characters are being very stereotypical and, you know what I'm saying, very one dimensional. They love those movies, right? But when a movie comes out of black people really building something together, working together, enjoying each other's company, a very unapologetic black movie, a black movie where you saw that black people really had agency in the movie. And at the end of the day, of course, most of the characters didn't make it alive at the end of the day, but really, at the end of the day, the black characters won. They fought off the Triple K and they fought off the vampires. And they beat them at the end of the day. It wasn't no bittersweet ending. You know what I'm saying? Sammy, he was able to go out and he was able to get this prospering career and live an old life being this famous blues player and all that stuff. They didn't like that. That's what they don't like. And they don't like that movie getting the awards and the accolades that it did, because that signals to other directors that there's a market for that. Okay? That signals to other directors like, okay, well, I can clearly, I have an audience and there's a market and the demand for movies like that. So clearly I can do something like that. And this movie will set a precedent for other movies. Maybe not, a Sinners 2.0. And I don't think Sinners needs a sequel, but a movie around our culture, maybe in the 1930s or maybe before or after, just a movie just about foundational black American culture. Okay. And that doesn't have a YT savior, that doesn't show us in a very degrading or stereotypical way, that's showing black people working together, building something, protecting that thing, Oh, they don't like that.
But
They don't like
absolutely, you have to understand the difference with that is that this has been going on for a while, and this is why I give praise to people like Eddie Murphy. You have to understand, when it comes to Hollywood, they don't have a problem with watching movies that shows the dark side of Black American trauma. And I made a panel about this on how Hollywood has profit off of Black American trauma. But the issue is that it's a problem when Black Americans is a superhero or just an original movie. And Denzel Washington gets so much credit because he was one of those people who broke that barrier. Now, you have to understand, remember when Eddie Murphy came out with Boomerang, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, a lot of Hollywood gave him a lot of pushback. Why? It wasn't the fact that it was a good romance movie. It wasn't about that. It was the fact that it's unrealistic for a black man to be an executive at a company. And they pretty much penalized him for that. You see what I'm saying? If you look at all the early reviews when Boomerang first came out, and Eddie Murphy was very vocal about this, and he addressed it in the Academy Awards. But the overall point is that you see, white people have this whole fake sympathy for black folks whenever they see movies like that. Me, I get tired of watching those movies. Like I think my last straw is when I watched Detroit. After Detroit, I think I've had enough of it. Like I want to see more Black Americans in regular movies, like something similar to The Matrix or something like that. Like it always got to be something. It always got to be something negative or something that has to be based in reality. Like we can't be something that transcends that. It's movies, but it's okay for to watch a white dude be an assassin or something like that. You see what I'm saying? So
Can you say that word? Can you say that word here? I know what you mean, though.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Well,
yeah, I
I'll
know what
change
you
it just
mean.
in
Yeah,
case.
but they can be astronauts, they can be superheroes, they can be
Yeah,
cowboys, they can be,
yeah.
they can be anything they want to. They can be secret agents. It don't matter what they are. They can be anything and everything from the past to the present to the future. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter what it is. They can be
Mm-hmm.
everything. They can be completely fiction. Okay.
Exactly. But
Black people are
whenever a black
relegated
person does
to,
it, it's
okay, well, y'all
unrealistic.
got to be somewhere in Mississippi, you know what I'm saying, or Georgia, and there got to be a cotton plantation, and you know what I'm saying, somebody got to get whipped. It's something like that.
There's always something. Yeah, it's like I said. Like Eddie Murphy got a lot of pushback from Boomerang, all because
Hmm.
Eddie Murphy's character was a rich executive for a marketing firm or something like that.
Mm.
And they were saying, well, there are Black Americans who are rich who work in in marketing that make money. My mom's knew a lot of people from New York City that was Black American, that was middle class, high class, who worked in prestigious companies.
Fuck.
Afro Lee, you could drop him, man. He's a
No,
troll.
that's just him
Yeah, I'm
talking.
like,
It
he
just
playing
sounds
Yeah,
like
troll.
that. He just came off his mic. It just sounds like
yeah.
somebody
He
busting
did
his
that on
balls.
purpose, man. He's been in my films before. Yeah, so they gave Eddie Murphy a lot of pushback.
But you see
Whenever you
how
see,
you see how salty that is, and he
yeah,
look Hispanic
Mm-hmm.
too.
nah, he is.
This dude look, well, and let me say something else. The Hispanics are very upset too. I've seen a whole lot of Hispanics sitting up there getting real mad. The Hispanic community, the
Afro Lee,
Latinos are very pissed off. Okay,
Afro Lee,
it's
they
very
have
telling too.
but they have selective outrage. Afro Lee. Last time I checked, Latinos didn't care about Blue Beetle, but you get mad all because Ryan Coogler ain't putting no Latinos and no sinners. I'm like, okay, okay. You see, I watch movies. I'm a film fanatic. I don't see Latinos talk about Guillermo del Toro in his movies. I didn't see a whole bunch of Mexicans or Latinos spending money to go see his movies. And Guillermo del Toro is one of the most talented directors I've ever seen in my life. I don't see, you see, it's selective outrage. But the reason why they have an outrage is because they like sinners. They just want to be a part of it because they want to tether onto the shit.
Mm.
Yeah, the white tees are extremely upset. I think somebody put in the comments perfectly is that Sinners is spiritually empowering for Black Americans. It invokes a spirit of liberation, and that's what they sense and that's what they fear. So I think that and the overall, because it's not just a movie, it's the fact that Michael B. Jordan being FBA, Ryan Coogler, both of them brothers being on Code, him mentioning FBA, Ryan Coogler. There was so many different positive layers within and outside of the movie that they just could not stand. You know what I'm saying? That evokes a level of fear within them. Seeing our empowerment. So, yeah, a big part of that was not just the movie itself. It's everything surrounding the movie and how it was. How we supported it, how much love it got, how much all the actors, how many times we went to go see the movies. Multiple people going to go see the movies multiple times. So yeah, it was just so many positive aspects. That's why they really just trying to rain on our parade, to be honest, because there's so many positive things to talk about
Afro
within the
Lee,
movie.
you support
Oh my
indigenous and racial
god.
Chavo.
Who brought
One
this man back up
minute.
here?
I invited
Hold
you.
on.
Hold
Chavo,
on.
stop
BX brought him
blackwashing the
up.
Wait a
BX
message.
brought
minute.
you up for a reason.
Wait a minute. I brought
Y'all
you
need
up
to
for a
stop
reason,
blackwash.
not to act like a savage, right? To
I
have some
repeat,
decorum. Okay. So I
washing
invited you
them.
up. I could drop you too. So I want to tell you why I invited
Doing it.
him up. One moment. I thought he would come up and be respectful enough to go on his mic until ZZ at least finished talking. ZZ
I'm
is the
like, damn.
co-host. Do not cut her off. She is the co-host. So in the chat, he was saying, stop erasing Mesoamerican, I think, history. Yeah, Mesoamerican history. Stop
He has
blackwashing
mental health issues, Afro
Mesoamerican.
Elite. He has mental health issues.
Oh, I
It
didn't
seems
know.
like
So
it.
I invited him up for
No,
that type of
I believe he
conversation.
does. I believe he does.
Okay.
It's like
Let's
he's
say
actually
allegedly
very
for
stalkerish.
TikTok's sake.
Yeah, but Afro
Allegedly.
Elite. Yeah,
Allegedly.
but Afro Elite. You see, what irritated me with the Latinos is that
Well, hold on. Let me finish my point. If I lose my point, because he interrupted me in the middle of my point. Let me say this one last part. So yeah, the other thing is as well is the fact that, like you mentioned, that the movie having this not having this aspect of trauma corn that they love to push, within a lot of black films about our history, especially during that time. And although we've had other movies that kind of invoke a spirit of liberation or revolution, like Django, you know what I'm saying? Django was a great movie. Django, we got to see the brother go save his wife. He got to whip all these white people ass.
I still got issues with
You
Quentin
know,
Tarantino.
hold on, I'm about to get to that. Relax. So let me finish my point. Django's still one of my favorite movies, though. It was a great movie. You know what I'm saying? But that movie still had a lot of trauma, you know what I'm saying? Trauma corn and a lot of egregious aspects in it. And although it still had a liberating undertone because we got to see our brother go save his wife and, run off in the end, have a great ending. We had to hear the N word 119 times. We still had this YT director behind the movie. You know what I'm saying? We still had a bunch of other non-white T's involved in the movie as well, and it wasn't us. Although we did have our what's his name? Jamie Foxx did a wonderful job playing that role. There were still a lot of negative aspects around the film as well. So it's not the same. It's not even, it's not even really comparable to Sinners when you talk about that level of, spiritual awakening or spiritual empowerment. So yeah, that aspect is very important because again, although we've had similar films before with a similar tone, it's not the same. There's too many things, too many layers to this movie that made it black as hell and great that it's just undeniable. They have to come right on the parade, point blank period.
Yeah, so Afro Elite, don't let them Latinos gaslight you when they come with the Sinners is just a black version of Dust from Dust Till Dawn. So we going there. You really want to take it there? Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Say something too before somebody else speak.
I don't
Go
think nobody
ahead.
else
See how,
did. Go ahead.
I ain't want to overtalk nobody. You see how Buddy just came in here and he had to get ran out of here like Speedy Gonzalez crossing the border. See, the thing about these Latinos is that they don't want to see nobody else win, especially a foundational black American. Anything that we do, they try to black and brown everything. And you see how Buddy just came in here being very disrespectful. And these people are so disingenuous when it comes to the stuff that they do. We don't have to put y'all in anything that we do, our movies, our TV shows, nothing. We don't owe y'all anything, and y'all do need to be paying homage and be giving. Y'all need to be helping those Afro Latinos out in your homeland. Y'all ain't saying nothing about that. Everything y'all do, the large majority of your people gonna have YT Hispanics in it. So I don't see why dude came up here, you trying to be a coward and just troll, doing flushing toilet like sound effects. We having a constructive conversation about sinners, washing these award shows up in these panels, and these people are just habitual line steppers. These people are haters, and that's why ICE agents need to be out here doing their jobs. Because if you have people like that are not being respectful for people who paved the way towards his people, see, a lot of these folks don't have the energy that some of their ancestors had by showing that fighting spirit. They wave their flags in our homelands and they don't want to go back to their countries. They have so many internal conflicts with each other that they got to give their negative energy and anti-black American rhetoric towards us in our panels. So with that being said, I just blocked that dude, and hopefully, if he comes back up here, taco sauce don't be flying everywhere, and sombreros don't be thrown in the air like a graduation celebration.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Let me just...
Look pissed, Afro. But no,
No,
when he said that, I said, okay, well, let me send. I send the invites to certain people,
I knew you brought him
and
up for a reason.
yeah, he just didn't know how to go on his mute. That was very disrespectful. But he wants to come up. I said, y'all can have the conversation, but you gotta have some decorum.
Yeah, he messed it up for himself.
Yeah.
He messed it up for himself. He messed it up for himself. So now, yeah. Um, but to the point, to Zizi's point, yeah, there was nothing for them to kind of grab on. That brings me back to one battle after another. Okay, and this is something with Tiana Taylor. And it's kind of messed up, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because Tiana Taylor, her character, was just pretty much used as a let's be honest, a bedwitch pawn. Okay, a very performative activist bedwitch pawn, and I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to her, but that's what the character was. That's what the character was. I'm not trying to disrespect her, but that's what the character was. Let's be
Afro, she knew
honest.
what she was doing in that movie.
Because she was with Leonardo DiCaprio, and then she got caught. Then she was with, I forgot the character's name, but she was with Sean Penn. And then she had a baby, and then the baby turned out to be the other guy's baby, and then she abandoned the family, and then snitched on her crew, and then wound up fleeing to Mexico. It was like, I didn't like her character in the movie at all. She was barely in there. She was only in like the first act of the movie, and then she was never seen again. I thought she was gonna appear back up in the movie, but she was never seen again. Barely even mentioned. But there's a thing in film, and I'm noticing this in movies and in TV shows, because it's not just in one battle after another. There was another TV show called Dear White People. There's a couple of TV shows where they like to have the very radical, the super pro black girl get with a white man. And that's a theme that they like to do. And there's a couple of reasons for that. The number one reason is because that makes a mockery of pro-blackness, period. Okay. It showcases pro-blackness as something that is irrational and performative, and something that the people saying it don't even genuinely believe. Okay. It makes black complaints, and it puts that in a position of, just emotional, very emotional and very erratical people complaining. Okay. And they don't really mean that or feel that. And their points aren't really rational because the characters show hypocrisy. Okay. And they don't mind doing that. Okay. They don't mind making a very, very pro-black character, but the very pro-black character is in love with a non-black character, because that shows the hypocrisy of their pro-blackness. Okay. And it makes a mockery of black people and pro-blackness in general. Okay. There's also a thing where they do this with women as well too. You don't really see them doing this with black men and YT women. You see them trying to do this a lot with black women and YT men. Okay. Because as Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, if you guys don't know who she is, you guys definitely got to get the ISIS papers, because it puts the YT man in an authoritative position over her. Okay. It shows that, okay, well, she's doing all that pro-black stuff, but at the end of the day, she answers to a YT man. Okay. So all of that stuff is very disingenuous and performative. It also goes to show too, it kind of lowers it blurs the line of what really is, racism and anti-blackness. When you see this YT man who's just so overly in love with this black lady, He's just so overly in love, everything she's doing. Oh, he's madly in love with her. And it blurs the line of where they stand when it comes to black women. It blurs the line where they stand when it comes to black people, and the genuine perception that they do have for the black community. All right. So that's something that they do a lot. It also shows a level of promiscuity when it comes to black women. They don't do this when it comes to YT women. You don't have they would never have a critically acclaimed film of a YT woman going around sleeping with a bunch of black men. They wouldn't do that. Okay. And if they did that, she would be a prostitute or something like that. She wouldn't be anything.
I don't know if you can say that word, Afro.
Careful, man.
Well, it is okay.
Lady of the night.
She would be a mistress. She would be a Jezebel, and they would show it like that. Okay. And she wouldn't be no revolutionary. She wouldn't be anybody smart or intelligent or anything. Okay. Cause they don't even want to set that precedent at all. Okay. So, that's a theme that I'm starting to notice in the movie as well, too. With the movie, Tiana Taylor's character, the fact that, and spoiler alert, but the fact that she was willing to abandon, first off, she was like caught in a corner or something like that. She didn't have to sleep with the officer. She didn't have to have smacks, I guess you call it. She didn't have to. Okay. And apparently it was something they were doing off and on. It wasn't no one-time thing either. So she was complicit with it. And then she abandoned her child. And then she went with her crew and then snitched on the whole crew. As soon as she got caught, wound up snitching on the whole crew. Got them, offed, arrested, all of that stuff, and then fled, and then never tried. There was no redemption character. There was no redemption arc. I mean, there was no redemption arc that she, went through. There was not even a moment really of regret that we saw in that movie from her character. And they like that because it showcases a level of revolutionary performative actions and behaviors, and that discredits black activism, and they do that to discredit the black activism, okay, of the character. All right. So that's something that you're starting to see a lot when it comes to films and movies and things like that.
Yeah, you see it. And that's saying somebody in the comments say they do the same thing with black men. I don't really think so, to be honest. I'm trying to think of a similar role the black man's played, because when they usually pair black men with a white T woman, and have him play the savior, it's still saving. Like, it's not really a pro-black thing. Like, he's not a revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? Unless we base it on like some sort of historical character. I'm trying to think of a movie like that. But I'm really trying to think of something that's even comparable. A movie that just like a black man that played a role that's just as egregious as what Tiana Taylor played. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they really use black men in the same way. And that's because they really try to cut black men out the picture. See, with a lot of these films, and even One Bite After That, we can use that within that film. I think it's one brother in this. The brother from Paid in Full, I think, is in there. He's not even mentioned at all. Nobody talks about that brother in that film. Nobody, and he's the only black man I think that is actually within the whole film, or in a good portion of the film. Outside of that, it's Hispanic men and white T men and black women, black American women. And so that's very much a point, very much intentional, that these people try to create this image that, oh, well, yeah, we can prop up this strong black woman, but she can only be paired with the white T man. And the white T man that she's with is not no masculine, strong most of the time. Especially with these archetypes, not no masculine, strong superhero, save the day type guy. It's the epitome of what a lot of these black feminists in real life say that black men, are. They're weak, they're effeminate, they can't make decisions, they're lazy, they have to be led, they have to be told what to do. These are the white T men that they pair up with these strong, independent black women. So that's no coincidence that they're trying to send that messaging. With that, even recently, it's crazy with Sinners. The girl Pearline, the lady who played Pearline, the black woman in that movie, she was recently in a film called The Running Man, and in that film, it's a white T man who's going through this egregious ass game to save his family because his daughter is sick and he need all this money, but he has a black wife and a black child, and that he's this strong, masculine, you know, I think he was I don't know if he was a cop or something, but he's jumping through hoops, doing all types of 007 shit for his family, to win this game for his family, you know. But they could have put a black, why not have a black man in that position, doing that same very thing for his black family? But they don't want that imagery. They want to cut the black man out. And so this is very intentional. And I think that even goes back to why Sinners was being disrespected so much, because you have black men at the forefront, not only at the forefront, but in the background of it. Ryan Coogler being the face of it, in the background, being the director, being the writer, and having so much power he did. Going to the studios like, look, I got something y'all gonna want. So y'all gonna have to give me what I want in order for y'all to get this. He knew his value. That being, having a black American man lead that, and then bring on another brother, Michael B. Jordan, who's also FBA, who's also had very integral roles before, and then come on and just display such a do such a phenomenal job on screen. That is something they can't stand to see, you know. And Ryan's married to a black woman. You got, you know, Michael not married, but he's been with black women. So we see the imagery, and in the film, he's with a black woman. You know, Wooney, the one who wins, is the one who actually comes out, although the twin stack ends up becoming a vampire and he lives on. He's really cursed. He's cursed with a white tea woman for the rest of his life. He can't even see the sunlight because he wanted to be with this white tea woman so damn bad. So he's cursed. This brother, the brother who stuck with the black woman, was really the one who came out the most unscarred. He beat the white tea supremacists at the end. He got to reunite with his family after crossing over. Like, it was a beautiful ending for the black family, you know, and that's something that they don't want. They definitely don't want to uphold or award. So yeah, for sure, they doing that on purpose. A black feminist role is being played intentionally.
You want to say something, Afro? Because I'm seeing something in the comments that I kind of
I just want to say, we're gonna wrap things up in about maybe another 15-20 minutes, because I gotta still get ready for my YouTube live tonight. So
good. Okay. I like to go to YouTube.
So, yeah.
I just want to say
that in the comments.
So I'm seeing a Nigerian saying foundational black American women love white tea men, but then I understand 90 Day Fiance is about fat white tea women and Nigerian men, African men. Also, I'm seeing a lady saying, well, if you want to have a real, and she has our flags in her name, like as her profile picture, and she's like, if you want to have a real discussion, then let's talk about how black men marry out the most. So I don't want to get this stuck in a gender
okay. Yeah, we're not.
I just want to remind everybody, if you really go to the stats, which hasn't changed since 2017, black men marry black women at a higher rate than they do white tea women, which they marry at 11%. When they marry outside their race, they marry white tea women at 11% and Hispanics even less at 4%. We got to stop letting agendas get to us, because I know there are, who's that? LeBron James and Savannah. They're a black couple, right? And so when you do see these black men who marry what they feel is exotic, right? That's them, and that's a relatively small number, if not mistaken. Let's focus on the men who marry black women and don't get stuck at the 11 and 4%ers. Like, good riddance to them. I hope you're happy, but I'm going to focus on the black men that willfully, boldly date and marry black women. I just don't want to get stuck in a gender divide. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, which was not the point I brought that up for. I didn't bring that up to try to talk about marriage statistics or anything like that. I brought that up to talk about the agendas that they push in films. That's the reason I brought that up, you know. And here's one thing, man. Every time we bring that up, it's always, what about black men? What about black men? Oh, look, that's not even what this is about. And that shows that, there's just a level of defensiveness. You didn't even really understand what I said. You didn't even really comprehend exactly what I said, because I wasn't even talking about Tiana Taylor, because she was just recently married to a black man. All right. So I literally said, I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about her character, and I'm talking about characters in movies. And then somebody in the comments is going to get triggered by that because they think that this is like, me beating black women up or something like that. So I mean, it just shows the level of immaturity and lack of comprehension.
Say something about that too.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this just goes to show you that these burnt goosey soup sipping individuals in the comment section, and I know who that tether is because I just blocked them. They too scared to come up on the panel and have a real constructive conversation, just like old Amigo earlier came in being real disrespectful. See, they talk all that BS in the comment section, but too scared to come up and have a constructive conversation. See, they pick and choose their conflicts and try to come and give us these asinine talking points in the comment section. But if you look at his homeland, they got YT Jeezy statues all over the place. And I'm glad that Sister BX brought up the 90 Day Fiance situation. You know, you had the queen of the trailer parks, the YT woman, looking at the Africans and the dude's kids crazy because the dude was bowing down to the YT woman. And she was like, man, I don't want my man bowing down to me. Like, come on now, this is just a tribalistic, cowardly mentality that a lot of these foreigners have when it comes to them bowing down and being cowardly and always having that sneaky, slimy mentality when it comes to anything that foundational Black Americans do. And Sinners is just another example of how we do things on our own, and these people can't stop. They can't help themselves. It's just like Tourette's. Anything we do in a positive manner, they always got to come in and just be haters. They hate on other Africans. They the most delineated people throughout the whole entire world when it comes to their people, 54 countries and counting throughout the continent of Africa. But you keep hearing these people call us divisive. They keep hating on Sinners because they can't do nothing like this in Nollywood. They don't got enough money. They owe the Chinese $11.5 million. So how the hell you think you can come up here and try to critique, even open your mouth to foundational Black American excellence, let alone anything that we do? So when it comes to these tethers and these foreigners, I really just brush them off like old roaches and just sweep them up because a lot of these people don't do anything for themselves besides just hate on us all day, every day. But with that being said, I'll land my plane.
Yeah.
EJ, one thing I noticed about EJ where he says, yeah, such and such is a tether. That's why I blocked him. I think he done blocked about 3 people. And who else is known as I'm known as the queen of the block. People be coming in like, BX, why you blocked me? Yeah. Great job,
You
EJ.
gotta cleanse the room because I'm not gonna be dealing with that crap. I don't deal with that on Twitter, and I'm not gonna deal with that on, every social media platform I'm being on. After this space, I gotta go spray my room because I don't want the stench of these tethers in the comment section talking crazy. So I think we just need to cleanse their spirits away from our conversation and just put them away.
All right. Yep. Yep. All right. But I think that'll wrap because I gotta get off here. Right. All right. Y'all make sure y'all
So can
follow
I
on
say
YouTube.
something real fast, real fast,
Yeah.
real fast?
Yeah. We can have
Okay.
everybody give their final words.
So mine will be in like that was the best Black American film made, and everybody supported it. That's a form of group economics, but I want to show you group economics in real time, right? So because my account is private, because I like echo chambers, I think foundational Black Americans need an echo chamber for education, venting, sometimes strategizing, but not too much, right? Because my account is private, I can no longer receive gifts. So when people came into my room for the past 2 days and said, BX, what's going on with the gifts? I explained it to them, and I explained to them, I really thought about it. Do I still want to keep an echo chamber, or would I like to open up my platform and just be frustrated, pulling out my hair? Because I don't like when tethers come, and not all immigrants are tethers, but I don't like when tethers come into our rooms and disrupt whatever we have going on. So I opted to keep my space private, even though I won't receive gifts. And I said to the family who comes into my room, I said, listen, y'all could choose to gift me on another platform, or you could just go ahead and send $1 or 2 to my Cash App. So over the past 2 days, I made a little bit of change that when I came into Afro's live and I saw the subscription thing, I said, I'm gonna go ahead and use that money to get a subscription plan from Afro. And I still got a little bit left that I could go to another creator's room and get another subscription plan. What I'm showing you is how the dollar will stay in our communities. Even here on TikTok, we could effectively enact group economics, engage in group economics. The gifts you send, and when we send it back to y'all, because we do give some of y'all, that is group economics. We keep these TikTok coins amongst the community, and sometimes I can afford to get my feet done. See how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a burner account that's public, but my room is primarily for us, Chaos. So if you follow me, you know that you could come up there and won't be somebody coming in like the Nigerian. Not saying that is wrong, because Afro likes to debate. So sometimes I got to be quiet, you know. But on my platform, we do education, we do venting. We vent, and sometimes I just give updates, like the protest that we're going to do on the 24th, because Ghana is visiting our ancestors' gravesite, and our ancestors aren't African or related to the Ghanaian president. I don't even know why he's coming here, but he's making a global push. No, he's making a push for global reparations, and Black Americans are saying, we ain't with you off-brand folks. That's all. So I just wanted to show how group economics work in real time, and we can keep dollars circulating within our community. That's all.
All right. Yep. Appreciate that. We got a new speaker up here. We got M. You can go ahead and say what you got to say. EM. Maybe you hit it on accident. Okay. She probably hit it on accident. It happens.
Yeah, she primarily stays in the chat.
All right. That's cool. That's all right then. That's all right. Let's see. Anybody have? Yeah, it was okay. That's fine. Anybody have any final words to say?
Yeah, I do. Final thoughts. Sinners is a perfect movie. I'm waiting for it to come out on physical because I collect DVDs and stuff. And I would suggest that the family get as many copies as you can and save them for future generations to come, because you know how these YT supremacists are when it comes to, you know, how historical films and, you know, books that we have from our master teachers, etc. Because I try to collect anything of significance, vinyl records, you know, of our Black American singers, artists, etc. And this just goes to show you that as long as we can come together and do our thing, these people are always going to hate. And it's the spirit of this movie that has entombed us with our ancestors and shown us the way. And it's shown us that delineation is a must. Any Black American that is not about the delineation movement, I really find them very questionable, because we done did everything for everybody for so long. They expect us to just help them with anything.
All right, well, I'll speak my little final say. You know, again, like you know, Afro, I'm from Chicago, family from Mississippi, Alabama, and I'm very not a delineating person. I don't believe in it, but I do respect people who do believe in delineation. But that's your thing. I do believe in the unification of Black people globally. That's my belief. I'm a Pan-Africanist, and I'm gonna stick to it. But however, be that as it may, I do respect everybody's opinion on that. And Sinners was a great movie. It was a great show of our intellectual and artistic prowess. And I think we just need to do more of that. And that's it.
Okay.
Sarah, how you drop that Pan-Africanist ball on us at the end of the program?
Because I don't want to get off into a long drawn off conversation about that when I have my beliefs on it. You know what I'm saying? I believe in Marcus.
To be honest, I respect that, because if you was to say that earlier on, then it would have been a whole thing. Then we would have detoured and we would have
exactly.
So okay, all right.
Yeah.
We'll have a conversation about it, but you stayed on subject. I respect that. Okay, you stayed on. You disagree with delineation, but you stayed on subject, because we got Pan-Africanists that come up and be all like, y'all hate Africa and y'all hate being African. So, you see how well we can get along when everybody respects each other.
I respect.
I disagree, but
I know you disagree, but again, I had to put my thing out there. Being from the Chi, you know how we get down. So I had to be more respectful and like, I'm not gonna come on here, push my thing. That's my thing. I'm Black first though, so I'm about us, of course, getting our house in order. And that's us, foundational Black Americans. Let us get our thing in order, then we can deal with all the other little nuances. So I'm not really concerned about how we
like delineation, brother. I like Pan-Africanism,
but I'm not worried about that. See, again, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Please come back, Sierra, because I do have a question such that I ask all Pan-Africans, and you can marinate on it if you like. And that question is, do you believe the Caribbean should be getting reparations with foundational Black Americans when they could actually go after the Brits? That's all. That's like,
It should be like the British Empire.
Right. So reparations, when we say the claim is for slavery against the United States of America, that is just for foundational Black Americans, correct?
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's what it. See, I have a cousin that's a very staunch Pan African, but when we talk about reparations, he says no. They have to go after the government that harms them, and that's what I try to tell everybody too. I am foundational Black American. I advocate for lineage-based initiatives, but that doesn't mean I want to see the Caribbean harmed or not get repairs. I want them to go after the accurate government and not ride our claim. So shout out to you, Sierra, for answering the question honestly and being true, because right there you delineated reparations from the Caribbean. So you believe in a form of delineation. I like that for us.
So, and to be honest, we're not even really far off from that, to be honest. If based off of what you're saying now, maybe we have to ask a little bit more, but based off of what you're saying now, you don't really disagree with, or it doesn't seem as if you really disagree with what we own right now, to be honest, because
No, no,
we
no.
don't wish harm on any other people or anything like that. So we're just trying to focus in house. So it kind of seems like we on the same page as far as that's concerned.
We agree more than we disagree. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's what it is.
It's not that really hard to understand. A lot of these other immigrant groups make stuff harder than what it needs to be because they got certain things that we can't get in, and I won't want to get into anything that would give me tangibles if it doesn't have anything to do with my lineage. So a lot of these people just make stuff harder than what it needs to be. And the certain thing that I don't agree with, certain Pan-Africanists, they talk all this stuff in America, but they're not repatriating back to these African countries and trying to teach Pan-Africanism over there. But when it comes to the whole delineation situation, certain people do need to delineate from Pan-Africans that don't want to repatriate back to these African countries and help their people. So they're not teaching it the right way. If Pan-Africanism is going to be something of a benefit, but that's what delineation is about on our end. Sometimes we got to separate from certain people within our own lineage so they won't muddy the waters. It is 2026, and we really shouldn't be have to explain stuff to certain people in the day of modern technology. The information has already been there, but a lot of people make stuff harder than what it needs to be. I do agree with some of the things that the brother said, but we can just agree to disagree on certain things, but we still can be respectful.
Yeah.
Most definitely. So being from Chicago, we understand what those flip flop people, brother Afro, who flip one way and then they on another set, then they something else. No, it ain't that. You know what I mean? We understand that we have some hard hitters from the continent and from the Caribbean, and I look at people like the Honorable Marcus Mosea Garvey. Our brother Arturo Schomburg from Puerto Rico, who was obviously a black man mentally and consciously. So it's those type of black people from the diaspora that I rock with. But if you want to uphold the tenets of white supremacy, I can't rock with you. You know what I mean? You can be blacker than the ace of spades, talking about you from the motherland. I'm not rocking with you. That's so to me, Pan-Africanism means basically holding down your fort and understand that we got a common enemy. Just like Ronald Reagan and Nixon was having a conversation in the White House, they didn't make no distinction between black people. They hated all of us. So that's my mentality. But also I understand the nuances in that. So I'm not a blind fool. Put it like that.
All right, but let's not. Because I gotta go. So, and I understand that this conversation is going. The longer we have this conversation, you're gonna have more people come up and want to comment and everything like that. We do need to have another conversation, and I hope you do join us on a conversation we're gonna have in the near future about Pan-Africanism. That'd be good. For us to have a respectful dialogue, because normally when we have a panel about Pan-Africanism, you have the Foundation Black Americans who come up and they are about delineation. And then you have most of the people who are about Pan-Africanism that come up on our panels aren't FBA, so it's just kind of like, us versus them. And then they're being very dishonest and disingenuous and all of that stuff. So, hopefully you can come up and we can have an educational dialogue about that. But, I kind of want to leave it here where it is. Yeah.
Because we need to talk about that Marcus Garvey statement.
Yeah, that's why I want to. Yeah, that's why I'm. Yeah, right here. Let's leave right here.
Put a pause
Let's
on
leave
it.
it right here. Okay. Okay. ZZ, any final words?
Yeah, just shout out to the good brothers, Michael. I'm sorry, yeah, Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Coogler. Such a great film, classic film. You know, I definitely think we are highly blessed, highly favored to be in a time where we're witnessing. We got to witness something historical happening. You know, this is something. This movie is going to be looked at years from now. You know, generations from now, look back on as one of the best films I believe ever. To be honest. So yeah, definitely a classic. It's a blessing that he was able to make that and do it so beautifully, display our culture and history so beautifully. Such a good thing to see. We know these award shows are always going to play with us. They've been playing with us, so you know, of course, they didn't get everything they rightfully deserved, but I am glad they got 4 of the awards they did deserve. You know, so yeah, it is what it is. But shout out to the brothers, shout out to the chat and the panel. This was a good conversation. Thank you for the guest.
All right. Y'all make sure y'all go to For the Culture on YouTube. Go to For the Culture on YouTube. And that way y'all can listen to the playback of this and all of the other great, beneficial, great lives that we do have. So thank you guys so much for that. I appreciate you guys. Okay. For the Culture on YouTube. Shout out to everybody for liking. Shout out to everybody who gifted. Shout out to everybody who subscribed. Shout out to everybody who subscribed. All right. And we will see you guys soon. Okay. BX, can you close us out, please?
Sure. You know, I got to ask you, Afro, when's the next time you're coming back live on TikTok?
I want to come back tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it's going to be tomorrow.
Okay, so tomorrow I do have an interview at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So before or after that interview, and it's with a hoodooist, and I think y'all will be interested to know if hoodoo actually comes from West Africa or was born here. We're going to address that topic right there on my platform.
All right. All right, then. Well, thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. Y'all have a good night. Y'all follow me or follow For the Culture. Follow For the Culture. Go to For the Culture on YouTube, okay? It's in the caption, For the Culture on YouTube. Thank you guys for everybody on YouTube listening to the playback. I appreciate you. Thank you.